All to the background. Yeah, somebody stole my shirt.
This shirt share.
I'm not, that's. He's slick, no, now it's not. I just don't want to be on camera. That's why.
Thank you.
Kind of trying to walk you through the process. Okay.
I fixed
So-
the signature page, I typed in his name.
There's gonna be a brief.
Well, yeah.
Pretty murky in this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Saw this.
They already edited it.
All right. Everybody sign.
Just a new one?
Yeah.
This
Okay.
Are we good, Chris?
Yeah.
Okay, everyone, welcome. To the workshop today, this March 19th. We're gonna call roll, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Malloy.
Here.
Mr. Bernard.
Here.
Mr. Hernandez.
Here. We're gonna suspend regular workshop business to bring up Attorney Berkey.
Yes.
So could you please introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Robert Berkey. I represent the commissioners on this annexation of 7+ acres over in Holland. With me are the attorney, as the agent for the petitioner, Natalie Tolvey. And her partner. From the firm. I believe that all of the legal requirements for the filing, time requirements and subsequent requirements have been met. So tomorrow there is a not a public hearing, a meeting of the commissioners to review the petition and the documents and then make a decision based on what the Ohio Revised Code provides for the type 2 annexation, which this is. Type 2 requires 7 findings by the commissioners. And it's my opinion that all of those conditions have been met. That's for the commissioners to decide. So at this point, we would meet you tomorrow for a brief meeting on this matter. Again, it's not a public hearing, it's a meeting of the commissioners to make a decision.
Commissioner.
My only question, do we need a letter from you stating that everything's been met?
I can provide that. I had previously sent over a letter indicating that it was ready to go to hearing and to a meeting and the 7 conditions that have to be met. So, but verbally, I, in my opinion, all of the 7 conditions have been met.
I would just like to see the letter where it's stated.
Be happy to, an email is fine. I'll send you an email.
Sure.
Okay. Any other questions?
Sorry, I don't know, the attorney, any additional information that maybe you could provide or
No, well,
please
thank
state
you.
your name.
And this is Natalie Schulte. I'm the agent for the petitioner. Thank you guys again for letting us be here and being patient on this annexation with us. Again, as Attorney Berkey said, we've met the statutory requirements for this annexation. There has been no objections, understanding, and this is for your approval.
It's great. Yeah, and I've been watching that as it's been progressive.
Well,
It's been a while. It's been a
It's
while.
been in existence for a while.
Yeah, right.
Everything. They're operational.
Okay,
Well,
well,
there's nothing further, then we'll see you tomorrow afternoon.
sure, yeah.
One
Thank you
point.
for coming and thank you for, providing that information.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And we thank you very much for having us.
Thank you.
Okay, everyone, we're going to start with our agenda items. Agenda item 1, to dispense the reading of the minutes of the workshop on March 11th and regular meeting dated March 12th, 2025. 2, dispense with the reading of the minutes, special meeting dated March 14th, 2025. Vote to also accept and approve the video recordings for the official minutes. 3, to approve the bills. 4, pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, section 5705.14, transfer monies that's submitted to the Trumbull County Auditor's Office between dates of March 6, 25 and March 12, 25. The amount is $225,000. Funds 401 and 425. Journal is at 202-50-31734. 5, adopt resolution approving submitted list labeled as ORC 570541D of January 25 purchase orders to various vendors then and now. Purchase orders are compliance with ORC 5705.41D. Alex, do you want to take up a couple here?
Sure.
Yes.
Number 6, Commissioners, is to rescind the journal action dated March 5th, 2025, duly recorded to the transferring of Mr. Stephen Storms to the Building Maintenance Department. Mr. Stephen Storms is currently with the Sanitary Engineers Department. He did bid on the maintenance repair worker. He was, awarded the position. And within his union rights, he decided to, after being awarded the position, go back to his current position, stay in his current position. So we didn't even allow him to fully make the transfer yet. He wishes to stay in the Sanitary Engineers Department, so that is that. Commissioners, we do have 2 vacant maintenance repair workers, out of the applicants. Stephen Storms was the only one that was deemed qualified. So as at the time being, I'm going to be working with the union to just basically say that we're not filling any of those positions, I'm assuming, until we get through all this budget stuff, so. Now, that position was posted before the budget, to be fair, which is why we were entertaining, putting this person in the position. However, since then, obviously, we have severe budget constraints and the commissioner's budget alone has been cut immensely. So it would behoove us to just not fill positions rather than trying to hire people and basically tell them that we're in budget constraints and, so
To be clear, I think we cut the commissioners $3 million.
we did.
$3 million. Thank you, Alex.
And then number 7, oh, sorry, if you would like, we'll just keep going. Casey's here, but she did also reach out to HR last week. Probationary, Mr. Michael Luco was hired on 12/22/24, just for contextual information. Probationary employee, again, we see this often with 911. We put them through critical, we do everything we're supposed to do, and sometimes it just doesn't work out. The employee did not wish to pursue this job any further. Casey, if you have anything else you'd like to add?
Casey McDonough, 911 director. Unfortunately, we find this very often where, we take 1 step forward and 3 back. Obviously, we've been hit with a lot of medical issues in our department that's impacted staffing as well right now. Unfortunately, one of our trainees was unable to move forward. He was on, I believe, day 57 and just not advancing at a comparable level to others that were in the same area of training as he was. So we chose to not move forward. Unfortunately, that's kind of how it happens. The mind is willing and the heart is willing, but sometimes just the abilities aren't there for some people to pick up what we have to do and what we have to deal with, and the multitasking and the recall of information that you need day to day. Obviously, we're one of the, I think, only departments that is still hiring. Even due to your budget issues, because of the staffing levels that we have. So we're doing a big push again for advertising again and more testing. And we have a stack of on my desk right now that we're scheduling interviews to try to get us back up to the trainings that we had. So we still have one that's almost done and one that had just started that is still in training right now. So
that makes the second that we've lost within 2
yeah, one resigned on his own because he found a different position that had better hours. It was more of a day shift, 3 days a week, I believe. And then this one, unfortunately, just wasn't advancing to the level where, others had been. And even with remedial training and stuff like that, there's just some retention issues that weren't happening. When you're on day 57 and you're still in call take training on just non-emergency phone calls, usually by that point in the training, they're answering 911 phone calls by then and starting to learn radios and all the other procedures. So if you're stuck on one facet or module of training and not being able to pick it up and retain things day to day, there's no point really moving forward because it's not worth their time or our time, because training is, wasted time and energy if they aren't going to get to that point. And obviously, it's a difficult, especially for 43 agencies, there's a lot to learn, so.
Did we do exit interviews with them? The last one and this one? No.
I mean, there's been people who requested to have them. This was brought to my attention, obviously, when they pulled him off.
What about the last one that resigned last week?
He sent us a
He did,
lengthy,
he did a letter that he.
yeah, he sent us
Got another
a
job,
letter why he left. And it was it was to do with the hours. He found something that fit his schedule.
So I would say technically, Commissioner, I mean, it's not atypical to see probationary employees come and go.
Yeah,
especially
we had
this
2
role.
months invested in this guy. Now here we are back to 2 in training still.
Now, if it was, again, an employee that had passed probation, absolutely, that's something that we would look at a little bit differently. But in this county, it's not atypical.
And no matter what kind of testing you do, it's unfortunate. I would love to be able to just pump people through a test and say, yeah, they're gonna be a great dispatcher. But I've had personal experience in previous employments where I thought somebody was gonna be horrible based on their interview, based on their application, and they turned out to be an amazing dispatcher and they're still there today. And then I've had other people who you thought were gonna be like a barn blazer, just charge ahead and be amazing, and they were horrible. Unfortunately, 911 is a field where until you actually sit in the seat and handle the calls and learn what we have to do, you aren't gonna know if you're gonna be able to do it. And it's unfortunate, but I'm seeing that with every other dispatch center around. We implemented the critical. We will not be renewing that. It was $6,000 and we are not seeing a benefit from it. We've had people who tested highly, and then when they got in the door, they were like, yep, I can't do this job. It's not for me.
And it's funny you say that, Casey, because if anything, what I have found is that the ones that Critical did kind of recommend are the ones that are quickly, as soon as we get them in, they're the ones going out quickly.
Yeah,
So
the two that you
that
just,
to me, I'm glad that you brought that up, because that to me is a little bit of a red flag there alone.
the two
Is
that,
that really getting the best bang for the buck? Is
Yeah.
that- I feel like we were doing a better job ourselves of screening these applicants.
the
So-
two that we just had, the one that resigned and the one that we ended up parted ways with, both of those have passed the critical and came back with glowing recommendations of highly recommend and just did not, pan out. So instead of spending $6,000, we'll just, it's a crapshoot, unfortunately, and I'd rather save the $6,000 and we have about just as much luck as that program had.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, and at least for what it's worth, commissioners, we tried something different, tried something different. Didn't really correlate to the numbers that we were hoping it would correlate to, so. We'll keep trying different ways,
That's all we can do.
but it's a hard job, and what we don't want is dispatchers who aren't able to carry the workload. That would be unsafe for our community and our citizens. So,
Great. Thank you, Casey.
Commissioner, I noticed, I don't see anything on here. Are we supposed to do a presentation for Farm Bureau?
Yes. Yeah, it is item 26, or no, I'm sorry. Item 16. It's to adopt a resolution to proclaim, I missed it yesterday. I think you probably missed it, but yeah, we're gonna do a proclamation.
Okay, so we don't do it at the front, we don't have a thing at the top like we usually do.
you want to do it that way, I can leave it.
I mean, it's good there where it is, it's just, I'm used to seeing it. Usually we have
In the
that up
beginning.
top that we're doing this thing.
We could do it we could do it to start, if you'd like. Okay,
Just so they don't sit through the whole meeting,
right,
you know?
right. Okay. Mr. Schaefer, you've got like 8 through 14.
Yeah, I'm coming strong this week. Thank you,
Yeah.
Commissioner. Yeah, number 8 there is to approve the property damage release with Republic Services. Had a garbage truck hit one of our guardrails down on Warren Avenue, just outside of Nile, so we already repaired that. As soon as that release is executed by the commissioner, we'll receive payment, $8,405. Compensate us for that guardrail. Number 9 is to award and enter into a contract with Cooler Contractors for the County Line West Webb Road project. That is a joint project between Weathersfield and Osstown Township. They received 80% STBG and then 20% local match provided by OPWC. All the funding's coming through Eastgate. And the reason that we're involved is we're running that through our ODOT local LPA program. So we do the design in-house, we'll oversee the construction to save this community those costs. So we'll be able to draw funding, or 80% of our time involved. It's doing that. And plus the asphalt bids came in really well. But we were 18% under the engineer's estimate. So they're pretty good this season. Number 10 is to authorize the clerk to advertise for letters of interest for the grant services for this, our signal upgrade project. That is going to do an analysis of 13 different signalized intersections, Larchmont, Elm Road, Warren Sharon Road, we've got a couple lights, and then also Salt Springs at truck stop there. So we'll be analyzing those and then upgrading those signalized intersections in the future. This is just to authorize us to go out with letters of interest for engineers. 11 is to concur with our office, the issue the steel foil permit for Jaro. 12 is to grant the special annual supplier fleet permits as listed. 13 is overweight. That's a move in, move out, which is towing. Overweight equipment. And 14 is to concur with our office to issue as readily.
Barry, you want to go into 26 if you're here? I don't know how long you want to be here, but just figured you might want to.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, annually we put out our aggregate material bid. We accept all of them, as long as they comply with the bid requirements, we accept them all, because even though they might not be the cheapest, they might be available. The cheapest isn't always available throughout the year. It is these suppliers run out of material. So that's, we're all bids as submitted.
That's an amendment,
I'm sorry.
that we're amending the fund number on that.
Okay. Thank you.
So that's just amend the correct fund number. Okay. I know I threw it in your lap, Gary. I don't think you even see that. But that's the, I think that's just, thank you. Thank you, Gary. Hope I get this name right, because I don't know him personally,
This is
but
number 15.
yeah,
I'll take it.
okay.
Accept the verbal resignation of Mr. James Chickalow
Oh,
as member of Trumbull County Senior Services Advisory Council effective March 4th, 2025. This is a trustee up in Bristol, and they just didn't have the time. Great guy, and of course, it always makes my day when we have another Chickalow on the agenda.
He wanted to just say the
He
name.
did.
All right, Commissioner. You took my.
Those, if you know,
took
you
my
know.
mojo.
It's one of those things, if you know, you know.
Yeah.
The last couple of years, we've had another Chickalow on there.
I
Like a
think I
yo-yo,
remember
on,
that.
off, on, off. Transfer, didn't transfer, resigned, came back. Was promoted, went back down the whole 9 yards, so. It's nice to have a Chickalow back in our life.
Okay. Okay, 16, Commissioner, is the resolution and a proclamation which we will present first at the meeting. The week of March 16 through 22 is National Agricultural Week in Trumbull County, Ohio, and it's in conjunction with the National Agricultural Week. 17 and 18 commissioners. Sorry, 17.
Commissioner.
To approve the satisfaction of mortgage. Oh, this, Nick,
Yeah,
you're here.
Nick Coggins, Trumbull County Planning Commission. 17 is to approve a satisfaction of mortgage with Miss Alice Renato. We manage the home and CHIP grants. They rehab people's houses for low to moderate income, single family owners in Trumbull County. With that, we're required to put a lien on until they've either declined their mortgage payment or all mortgage items have been satisfied. Ms. Renato has satisfied all requirements, so we're just requesting we release that mortgage off of her house, therefore it can be sold. 18 is to authorize the Planning Commission to submit and apply for appropriation requests in the amount of $1,263,000 for community project funding through Congressman Joyce's office. This is for rehabilitation of the 185 East Market Street facility, where the Planning Commission and the Recorder's Archives is at. We recently just replaced the roof. We're going through with the roof ceiling replacement, the carpet replacement. While we were doing the roof, there were several other things that were identified between windows that are still leaking into our archives rooms, the facade that there's no mortar left between the bricks, the elevator, a lot of these things that are just items that need to be taken care of to bring the building up to standard and make it ADA accessible. So anybody coming for our programs or other items can get in. So Director Green will be taking the lead on applying for that $1.2 million funds. It's just basically help get that building up to date, and that'll be a relief from anything the commissioners would have to put up. Yes.
I have a question. Can security be part of this grant? You know, because I know there's some security issues down there.
I believe that there's going to be some between cameras and buzzers. I believe that's part of the application. I don't know about the details of this specific funding number, if that will be eligible. But I believe that's included in the 1.2 million. And that's something that we'll be going after regardless. I don't know if that was the security measures you were thinking about, or if there was, okay, yeah. So cameras, buzzers, automatically locking door, yeah. Those I believe are included in this 1.2 million.
Julie Green just messaged me and said security is included in the budget.
Oh, thank you.
Nice.
Yeah, because Commissioner Hernandez and I were down there
Yes.
probably a month and a half ago, and that was a
That's
major
not
issue
good.
down there, so. If we get that grant, then we don't have to worry about coming up with funds, and that's good.
Mhm.
Or what happens if we solve the security issue and then we got the grant, and could you reimburse the county back?
I would have to look into that because it's an appropriation from the.
pot. I mean, same well, so
Yeah.
whether we front it or whether we don't, I would imagine we probably could.
It's an appropriation through the congressman's office and the federal government, I would imagine. And there's Julie texting me right now.
You could get Julie on the phone
Yeah.
if you'd like to.
Can you prioritize these 3 projects as well?
Yes.
Is that
We'll
something
do
that
that
we
once we're
can?
done.
I believe the application is due Friday, so these are something that we have to get done fast. But because it's appropriation, I would imagine anything that we put towards the project costs. Julie cannot unmute herself. Is there?
That's me.
Hello,
There we
Hi,
go.
Julie.
thanks, Chrissy. So regarding, well, three
Julie, state
things.
your name and
Oh, Julie Green, Trumbull County Planning Commission.
Thank you.
So thank you, commissioners, for allowing me to explain a little bit further. Typically on these congressionally directed spending projects, they are usually handled similar to how all other grants are handled. And that would most likely not allow for reimbursement. However, I can't say that definitively. We will definitely look into it if and when we receive the award. The other thing that I did not mention to Nick before he left, because today was my first day back, and I apologize, I should have briefed you, Nick, on this. We need the commissioners to state their priority numbers for these 3 requests that we're submitting. And if they would be willing to discuss that today, that would give us, time to submit these through the portal. And I think that covers what you were discussing, correct?
I believe so.
I didn't hear that, Julie.
The whole thing?
No, just you had a or
She asked if that answered the discussion that.
oh,
Yes.
thank you, Julie.
Sure.
And for clarity, the 18, 19, and 20, you'll have to rank 1, 2, and 3, which is the higher how do you prioritize these in order? So if there's no other questions on 18, 19 is for the same funding for an appropriation request in the amount of $1 million to go to the Crane Drive Sanitary Sewer Project located in Weathersfield. We've already allocated $350,000 of ARPA funds towards the engineering services of the Crane Drive Sanitary Sewer Project. I believe our sanitary engineer has gone after a 0-interest 30-year WPCLF loan. And this would be $1 million towards that project cost, which is a total of $3,351,510.
Gary Newbrow, sanitary engineer, commissioners, for the purpose of this grant application, I think Julie is only showing the 0% loan as the match. But at the same time, I know that we have gone for CDBG, our big trip, so $750. I also requested another $300,000 out of the CDBG. So there's about over another $1 million in grants that we're not looking at trying to go into. We don't have them secured yet, so she can't list that in this right now.
And then the last one is to go after again the same appropriation funds for $500,000 for the Mosquito Lake Interceptor preliminary engineering study. Pay for the preliminary engineering study for another sewer project. Gary, if you you have anything to
Yes,
add to that?
yeah, Gary Newbrow, sanitary engineer, the commissioners, back at the end of last year sometime, they asked me to look into extending sewer up and around the lake, mostly on the west side, but also take a look at the east side. And I did some research on it. And this was the best document I could find. Let's come back from the 60s. All right, Commissioner Bernard, can you come over? County's current, we have interceptor sewers coming up and they pretty much, shadow Mosquito Creek down. That's the low area. Once your interceptor feet down. In the low areas. We have one that does come up. This is a 27-inch, this is the feet. We receive all Portland's flow and it goes from Mosquito Creek plant. We build it from master meter, but that's how I'll run all the investors. The one that we need over here on the west side of the lake is 18. Currently, it ends back here somewhere in the swamp area. I don't want to say behind the Walmart. Walmart's down about around here, back in these wetlands, near the creek. This general plan tells us we need this 18-inch interceptor to come up to this old Thurston Road here and this one meet.
305, is that?
Oh, here's 305 here.
Okay.
Yeah, this is Elm Road. Yeah. Where that Y is.
Yeah.
What's that road that comes up there?
That clear Jacoby on
Yeah,
that side.
McClary. Okay, so we need to get up to McClary. We bring it, there's Paul Brook. And cross country here to get around the dam structure and then start following 305. Then we'll go through the park. You can see how this pretty much just hugs the shoreline of the lake. The problem is, over Blackstone Road is all the way here. So even if this interceptor were to get built, then you still need the collection lines to come off of it to drain down into it. So this is a complicated project, to say the least. First of all, are we gonna be able to get through these wetlands with 18-inch sewer? I don't think today's EPA is gonna let us go back there in those wetlands to do that. We're gonna need probably a pump station, of course, we need to take this lake out of it. A lot of this stuff in here.
Can you go this way toward North Park or this whole section over that way or come straight down? Is that a road all the way straight down the Elm Road?
No, because we don't have the depth. Make it flow. You know, when sewer systems are built, you build a plant.
Right.
And the big question is, how big are these pipes supposed to come out of this plant right off the get-go? The interceptors, how big do they have to be? How deep do they have to be to service an area so big? So you start at the plant, start building yourself out with these different diameters and slopes. And you adhere to what's called the general plan in order to make that happen. So the flow here coming off of of Blackstone, it has to get to this intersection. We don't have the fall or the capacity in downstream sections to just say, oh, well, let's just run it down here and do it this way. General plan tells us you have to do it this way.
What's the cost of all this? I mean, you're gonna be.
Well, that's why we need this study. Figure out from an engineering standpoint, how do we sewer this in the most efficient way? The second question is, how much is this gonna cost?
And we have an opportunity here with the congressman for up to 500,000 to study that, which covers not only one side of the lake, and Gary said the other side. We're never gonna get sewer and water on Mosquito Lake, which means we're never gonna get lodging, we're never gonna get cabins, we're never gonna get any of that stuff unless we do the study first. So if we have the opportunity for an earmark from the congressman now, this is the first brick laid towards getting to that point. If you look at this map here, you can see on the lake is there, the red line that goes up is almost up to 88. So there is some groundwork, there's at least some engineering background from our departments in regards to that. But this study right here, an earmark from Congressman is Willy Wonka's golden ticket to get us a chance to actually have sewers around the lake.
Right, now, if we do have this study and it tells us, oh, this is gonna cost you $20 million, we have that study, we hand that in as part of the application. This is what we want, this is how much it costs, this is how much is involved. That's what they want to see before they hear what we do. So if we can get this study done now, it'll help us in a future appropriation. Same thing with the Maple area in Humber Township. We are finalizing that preliminary plan right now. I wish we would have done, I wish we would have it done and handed it now,
Yeah.
but it was still in the final stages, and we had no warning this was coming to the office. So, the next time there's an appropriation, we're gonna have that one big one too.
Yeah.
And that's about a $16 million
That's a
project out
huge
there,
project.
yeah. Well, that's all.
And what we're doing is we're asking for $500,000 to do a
To
study,
do the study, so we know how much it's gonna cost to get it done.
and the study's gonna come from the federal government.
Appropriations, right?
Yeah.
I can tell you, I had a great opportunity. I went to Congressman Joyce's birthday party. Did discuss with him these items here. And I believe that we have a good shot. I told him these are gonna be coming
Sure.
across your desk, Congressman, and he's aware of it. so-
And as on a separate side, on the state side, Representative Santucci, when he met with us in Columbus,
Yeah.
said, you gotta give me something that's ready with a price tag. You know, you don't just say you need money, you need something. This is what they need. They need this study first. There's also an economic development study that the Corps of Engineers is doing. That's a different one that's about the whole region for economic growth. That's one where we have a match with the feds on that, but you can't match the federal money with federal money. So an earmark for that wouldn't be possible. That's gonna come out of separate funds. But this here, as we talked last meeting, and as everybody knows, one of the main reasons I ran is to make sure that Mosquito Lake region gets taken care of something. This is the first step of that. If they're ever gonna see flush toilets in Mecca that go into a sewer line, or water lines, this is what needs done. And it'll be up to, we can't put it on the backs of the farmers. They don't own all the frontage to get it paid for. We're gonna have to get help from the feds and the state to get these lines done. And this is how it happens. When a congressman asks for an earmark to do something, I mean, there are some earmarks that are in the tens of millions of dollars they can give out. There's some that are as low as a couple 100,000. He's on appropriations committee now, so he can dish out the big checks. But he can't do that until he has this stuff, the groundwork done.
And this $500,000, it's not gonna only just look at this, we're gonna look at this.
Yeah.
Side also. Right now, the general plan is telling me I need a 36 inch and a 27 inch and a 24 inch. To get up to north of 88 on the lake. I need an engineering study to look at that and see if there's an easier way. I just don't see why we would need something that large. We got an 18 inch on the other side of the lake over here, it's telling me I need 36, 27.
And then this could be the future.
Look at all that. We also need to look at water. Let's get them to look at the feasibility of putting a water plant up in here somewhere that we could
And this helps, is that on
That'll
Mecca,
be in that
Bristol?
study also?
Yeah, I want all that in this study, that's why that happened. Water, west side, possible water.
Julie?
Yeah, Joey.
Yeah, those are all great points about the future. I'm just trying to meet the deadline for Thursday. So just to
All right.
clarify a couple things, Gary, you're gonna have to call me to tell me, what the scope of the work is, because it sounds like it's expanded. I can't really hear it. And then the other thing is, we need to know what priority order today, preferably. The commissioners want these submitted in. And just to clarify another thing regarding these appropriations, the federal government doesn't do any of the work. This is just another project that is going to be under our supervision. So it'll either be through Gary's office or our office, and we'll be required to follow all the regular procurement requirements, all the environmental review requirements that you would typically have with a grant program. I just wanted to clarify that.
All right.
Okay,
Yeah, we would put out an RF, once the funds are approved, Julie, we will put out an RFQ. And
Right.
then we can get into the nitty gritty of what all this study includes.
right.
And that's the things that I just told you right now, water, sewer, east side, west side, water plant, we want all that.
Yeah. Yeah, the portal doesn't have a lot of wiggle room. Each answer is limited to 2,000 characters, so we have to be pretty simplistic in our requests. But also, I know from past appropriations, if we vary from the original request, they have to go through congressional action to change it. So we want to be careful in how we word it and what we're requesting. Does that?
Okay, all right.
Okay.
All about that, Julie, get our wording right.
All right.
Thank you, Julie.
Well, we have to make sure that the project is affordable. Right?
Yeah.
And that we can recover our money from this. Right?
Well, the whole idea is that $500,000, we're not doing anything in here,
Right.
we're gonna let the
Right.
feds pay for
But
that.
once we get
Then
that
we use
study,
that
then
to
we
get it
have to
approved.
see.
And then we get a congressional appropriation to build,
And maybe,
hopefully at least 75% of
and
it.
maybe we have to do that in phases.
Well, I'm sure this will be phases.
Oh, yeah, well-
They're not gonna come and say, here's $60 million, we're up to lake water sewer.
Yeah,
But right now, we're square one, we're at zero to making progress. This may not be till 10 years down the road, but it'll
That's a start.
be 10 more years down the road unless we lay the first brick right now. And this needs done.
Yeah.
This should have been done 20 years ago, 30 years ago, when Mecca had restaurants and when Mecca started to dry up and die 20 years ago. I mean, now we got a grocery store that just went under. You got the old restaurants in the center of the square that have nothing because there's no sewer and water. Literally, the only thing Mecca's gotten in the past 20 years is a Dollar General store. You got Monty's for sale. I mean, all the places that were there are struggling. And then you have the Moose Lodge that's hanging on there. We lost the other tavern down there to fire. I mean, this is a chance to add some spark or some hope to both sides of the lake. I mean, we're looking at the second largest lake in the state of Ohio. We got nothing on it.
Well, one thing that
Enough is enough.
what we do know, commissioners, is that right now, without those cabins, it draws 1 million people a year. I can only imagine that with this type of infrastructure and economic development with those cabins and rentals, Airbnb, or even like, the state, the dollars that those cabins are going to bring in when they're rented to those areas that you're just mentioning, even in the.
And I remember as a kid when Lake Milton was drained.
Yeah,
In the city of Youngstown, it was a cesspool for the city of Youngstown. They dumped it out. And then the state took it over and look at Lake Milton now compared to what it was 30, 40 years ago. Now it's the place to be. And it's a pond compared to what we have here. It's a pond.
Years ago, there was some money through the Ohio Department of Natural Resources for some of this. That's not out there anymore. I mean,
They did put a new bathhouse in, a new,
I mean, what about cabins and stuff like that around?
well, you're talking about improvements inside the state park itself.
Yeah.
Yes. As a matter of fact, I did go out there, even though they're not my jurisdiction, and look at their sanitary facilities, and I did write a report on that. Showing that they had these outhouses out there. I mean, they were primitive.
yeah.
I wrote a report saying it's only for
No,
person,
that's
whenever you
horrible.
one of these will be in extremely desperate circumstances. You have to get rid of this. And they did go out and put in some restrooms with some grinder pumps and 2-inch force mains that led eventually to our treatment plant over on Sterling Drive, where we treat the waste from Lakeshore Drive and Prince and Sterling Drive here. So we did assist with that. But the only receiving station for any sewage in this area is our plant out there at Sterling Drive. So we did help with that. And ODNR did come in and make some improvements to the restroom facilities.
Then when you're talking the other side, like we have Maxwell where the old Packard is, that's just a big vacant facility, and anything north of that, again, you get out of Cortland, it's nothing. You know, this is the opportunity to finally grow beyond Cortland North and assist all those townships up north that are, when we're talking Kimberly Clark, and we're talking to plants down in Warren, where do those people that make $100,000 a year want to live? They don't want to live on the southwest side of Warren. They want to live where they can go get 3 acres of heaven, build a house out in the country, or move the suburbia is where they want to go. They want to go to Champion. They want to go to Zeta Fowler. And those are places that we can't help them until we do this. Until we provide some main lines there, there's zero chance of Bristol getting it ever unless we make these first steps. Zero chance of Johnson getting anything like this unless we grow south of them. So this may be a 40-year project, maybe a 30-year project. But I can tell you this much, in my 55 years of life, it's got nothing. So I don't want my kids or grandkids down the road to look at Mosquito and be exactly the same desolate and people saying, wow, it's all silted over, nobody uses it anymore, what a waste.
Commissioners, Nick Coggins, Planning Commission, I do think it's worth mentioning that we've been for the last 20 years dealing with unsewered areas that have under consent decree. I think we've whittled that down to, Gary, you're working on the last 2 right now between Hubbard and
That's the two
Meadowbrook.
big ones, yep.
Those are the last 2. So for 20 years, we've been dealing with unsewered areas of concern. And now you have the ability to start looking forward. And it was mentioned ODNR and the Army Corps of Engineers. Army Corps of Engineers owns the lake, ODNR operates the lake. So any investment inside the state park would have to be by them or with their permission.
And we've had meetings, we've had economic summits with both of them. We've met with the lake manager of U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. He hates being a one-man show in a little office there with nothing going on, but he needs community support to make this happen. You know, he'd love to be like Pymatooning or like Berlin, but without governmental help and without us, he's never going to grow to be that. But I know he's going to lobby hard with the Pittsburgh district as we give him more tools to do that. And then with the congressmen we have right now, the senators we have, now is our time. Now is our time to get this stuff done, to actually change the classification of the lake from limited use or restricted use to limited use, like Berlin is, and do the right economic studies. You get flush toilets even for our fairgrounds. Right now, our fairgrounds is hostage right now to septic system and
That would take care of that.
Yeah, well, it would provide an outlet for the fairground. Right now, the fairground, they have a little package land over here. Just off of Everett Hall. To the east side of the Blackstone. And I don't know how much I want to say.
yeah, it needs
I don't know.
upgrades. It needs love before we can put anything more at the fairgrounds.
Yeah.
It'll overextend its capacity of what it can do.
So we get a study and see where we're at.
That's what I'm asking for.
Yeah.
So those are the 3.
Well,
Now we gotta figure where we are.
Yeah, you gotta
Yeah.
pick 1 through 3, so.
The first one takes care of one building. The second one takes care of Crane Drive for, I don't know how many houses, how many individuals there. The third one opens the floodgates up for lots and lots of people and 1 million visitors. So you know where I stand with this thing, but I'd be happy if it was even number 2.
Does it matter how we rank them?
It does, because when they look at it, they're gonna look and say, well, what do they want the most based on the funding they want? Now, we want the least out of that one, so hopefully we get 2 out of the 3, maybe we'll get all 3. Dave's pretty powerful right now, so we could, with the amount we're asking, to ask for $2.5 million isn't crazy. With the government, And so we may get all three. We're not asking for a $10 million project like they do out west or, or different earmark things that are mega money. So I would hope we can get all three. But if we're only gonna get two,
Crane Drive, Gary Newbrow, Sanitary engineer, Crane Drive. There's about 50 people in the neighborhood. We can expand it and get out on Anderson Wharves too. My customer count's coming up to maybe 60 properties there that have built septic systems that need it desperately. But one of the other objectives of the project is this opening a vacant parcel up there for housing development. And that was one of the major drivers of this project anyway.
and we did put in for this
And we talked
for
about,
OPWC and got shot down, but we can put in again for it next year.
yeah,
And there are other options. You're asking for money, and in worst case scenarios, he builds this and the people who live there pay for it, like everyone else in the county does. Rather than give it to them for free when we're gonna take care of 60 people, when we can have the opportunity of sewer lines on both sides of the lake that extends to 4 or 5 townships. In my opinion.
Let's just mark them all one and send, let them questions, mark them all one and send them. Here, Congressman. We need all three.
I mean, when we send them and we rank them, do we put a cover
It's a tough
letter
thing
with
to
them at all, trying to justify how we arrived at 1, 2, and 3? Or do we just,
Well, I think we need to make consensus because the thing is here, as soon as he gets it, I want to be on the phone with Dave every chance I can get lobbying him to help us out here on this. And I'm sure Julie will do the same. We just want to make sure we're rowing in the same direction. So we need to come up with a 1, 2, 3. So we're not all lobbying against each other, pushing against each other. We need to, as commissioners, decide which one we're gonna tell Dave, this is the one we need for sure. This is the one we'd really love to have, and this is the one we hope you give us.
Julie wants to answer
Well,
something.
I think here's the problem, and I agree with you, but you have one that if we got the planning commission, they could do that next year. If you got Kane Drive, they could do that soon. The one that's far out that, which is maybe the most important one, is Mecca, but that's, like you said, that might be 10, 20 years down the
But
road.
until we
Well,
start
we
it, we
need to
can't
study,
do the
though.
next.
I know,
And he may come to us next year and say,
I'm
I
just.
got 50 million I want to spend, who's ready?
I'm just thinking out loud, you know what I'm saying? I mean.
They put us in a hard position, always a hard position.
well, Gary Newbrow, Sanitary engineer again. I would think that mosquito lake study would be the number one. But the problem that I see with this is, you put that as your number one, and it's only $500,000, they just give you the $500,000 and say, we gave you your number one. You know?
I
I
was looking at that.
I'd rather sneak that in as the 2, and that way we have a better chance of getting the 1 and the 2.
Commissioners, Director Green is on the phone and wanted to speak, and I wanted to actually just lobby for ourselves, as our office is used for union negotiations. We have it for overflow when the commissioners are here. We're currently lacking some ADA accessibility due to the age of our elevator. Our archives department services every department in the county. They keep forever files for our prosecutor's office. Every one of our courts, they keep them for the commissioners. They keep them for us. They keep them for every department. And that was a beautiful building. It has the bank's executive offices, the old bank in there. And currently with the leaking, the roof is finally fixed, thankfully. But there's other places where that, if that's not fixed, it's going to continue to be damaged. You could lose permanent records, you could lose documents, you could displace our entire office, depending on how bad that gets, if that keeps going down the road. So it's a building that's owned by the commissioners currently. Right now, it's in need of some maintenance based on deferred maintenance, whether it be from the previous owner or previous boards, but unashamed lobbying for my office to be priority one to help us make sure that building stays nice, keep all of our permanent records, and create ADA accessibility for our low to moderate income families that come in for any of our programs. low-income families or disabled people that are coming in to look at our archives records. And obviously, we are also still open to be used for, again, we've had it for union negotiations, we've had it for overflow for the commissioners. We do have technology facilities so they can watch the meetings outside of the office. So
Yeah.
my personal.
Thank you, Nick. Can you hear me?
Yes, Julie,
Oh, sorry. Thanks, Nick. I agree with what you were saying. And
just mention
I-
your name.
Julie Green, Trumbull County Planning Commission. I apologize. I should have been over there. I didn't realize there would be this discussion points. So I agree with Nick. However, I'm a practical person. Whatever the commissioners decide, whether you rank ours number one or not, I would just put in another request similar to Nick's, that because we have an MOU with the county using ARPA funds for our building improvements project, if other projects come in under budget, the commissioners have the ability at that point to dedicate other funds towards the rehabilitation of this building. And so that's the second option. And regarding the cover letter process, that was a question I believe Commissioner Bernard had. So this portal is very limited. You're only allowed 2,000 characters. We can certainly draft a cover letter that we send under separate email if that is something that the commissioners want. We can include it as part of an email correspondence, but I don't believe it, based on it, it's not a very user-friendly portal because it doesn't even allow you to attach items to it. So Gary had provided a map. Gary, I don't believe we're going to be able to attach letters of support, anything like that. It's all strictly narrative. Again, I don't know if the congressman's office wants us then sending follow-up emails that, sort of flood their inbox with extra items that they're not requesting or don't need.
Well, thank you, Julie. I agree with the sanitary engineer. We're looking at 1,263,000. I am partial to the mosquito, expansion there. I personally would think that, in my personal opinion, because we're gonna have to look at this down the road, whether it's a grant or whether it's the congressman or us, the planning commission's in need of a lot of
That's immediate.
upgrade. I personally would think that I'm only one commissioner. Planning commission, I would say, would be number one on my list. I see the sewer project. I know it's at $1 million, but I think number two for me would be mosquito, and then three, the sanitary sewer project. At least you get the study done at 500 grand. If you leave 500 on the table, you're not leaving a whole great amount of money on the table. So I would personally think planning commission one, mosquito interceptor two, and the sewer project three. That's just my opinion. You're two commissioners. You can, I know where you're at, Denny. I know what you ran on. I know you're, and
I just don't know
I don't
another-
disagree with you.
I just don't know another avenue where we're gonna get the opportunity to hit the masses up north of 305 that we've been fighting for. We've all been fighting for. That have not had anything done to them for my lifetime. I mean, those townships are still like they are, and you got trustees, you got citizens up there that are paying for septic systems, 25 grand a pop. Some are failing. The waters, there's, they got orange tubs all the time. They deal with it, they live with it. But if we're ever gonna do this, I think now is the time. I could be replaced by someone from Warren tomorrow, and you guys could be replaced by two people from Niles, then the rest of the county gets no love again for another 40 years. And I think this is.
Commissioner, I hate to interrupt you. And I realize what you're talking about, public water and sewer, which
Julie,
is.
can you give your name again? I'm sorry.
Sorry, Julie Green, Trumbull County. I just wanted to clarify because of my history. And Gary Newbrow can expand on this. The Planning Commission, working with the commissioners over the last 25 years, has completed a lot of projects, and the county engineers in the northern townships. through our CDBG program if they were qualified. And obviously, your focus is on extending public infrastructure, which, I just want to make sure that it's known that we have done a lot of work up north. And if I had time from my busy schedule of trying to meet deadlines, to give you a lineup of the projects that have been completed, there is a lot. We've done demolitions, we've done improvements, we've done ADA accessible programs. The senior center in West Farmington Village is one of our projects. We've done a lot of work in Kinsman. So I agree with you that I personally think the infrastructure extension to Mosquito Lake to spur development and assist with recreational opportunities at the lake is a great idea. I do. I've been saying that for years. But obviously there's obstacles there because you have federal and state agencies that are really the people in charge. And we certainly do promote that and support that for sure. I just don't want it to seem like for the last 25 years, people have been ignored up north, because I don't agree with that statement.
Well, and I'm not talking specifically about you, Julie, but I personally went with Tim Ryan to a meeting with the Corps of Engineers 2 years before he got voted out of office. And that was the first meeting he had at the Corps of Engineers in 15 years, as far as doing anything on Mosquito Lake. And he was there to take his first boat ride on the lake. That's the second largest lake in the state in his district. When he was congressman for more than 15 years, a federal representative, and never got a penny for Mosquito Lake, or never tried to get a penny for Mosquito Lake. We have a
yeah, I'm
congressman
not.
now that wants to do something. I think we need to take advantage of it, because we went through a
Absolutely.
17-year period where we got nothing, and the congressman before him, Mr. Trafficant, we got bridges, we got Cavelli Center, we got roadways. We didn't have anything up northern Trumbull County, and then we had Steve LaTourette. Before that, with the northern tier of the county, nothing happened there. We have an open ear with the congressman we have now, and I'm gonna ride that horse.
No, Julie Green, I can't speak for the congressman's office. I'm speaking for the county. The county level efforts is what I was speaking to.
Well, my comment is, while we've done a lot up north, I don't think we've done anything to this magnitude where we can possibly get water and sewer lines up there. Okay, and the thing that makes me kind of agree with Commissioner Malloy is that if there are some ARP monies left, then we can use that to fix up the planning commission building. So I think I'm gonna agree with Commissioner Malloy. I think that should be the first project. We would rank that 1, then planning commission 2, then the other one 3. I mean, we're gonna have to find out whether it's viable up there or not. And why we have everybody in place if we get that grant, and then they can help us get the money to do that. So I kind of agree with you.
I love all 3 projects. Don't get me wrong. I love all
That's
3.
a hard decision.
I'm just saying, what's the biggest thing, you know?
Put on the
I
spot.
just think that if we have some ARP, and what I'm understanding is that there could be some ARP funds available, then we give that down to repair that building.
And we do have a lot of assistance already on Crane Drive. And worst case scenario, you go for OPWC again next year and we get Crane Drive done. So there are other options. We don't know that there's other options to do this. This might be the once in a 10-year, once in a whatever time frame opportunity to get the earmark to do it. And hey, maybe it doesn't qualify with him, and we find out, and then we got to come back with other means, and then we go to, he picks number 2 instead.
If we're gonna grow the unincorporated.
I would hope they pick more
If
than
we're gonna
one.
grow the unincorporated areas, then we have to take the necessary steps.
And this is the basics. This isn't saying we're gonna go and put a shopping mall in Mecca, but this is, we're gonna provide the same opportunities we want to provide to the people on Crane Drive, but in the northern part of the county instead of a neighborhood in Weathersfield.
So how do you want to rank them?
1, 2, and 3.
Which 2? Which
One.
2?
1 would be Mecca, 2 would be planning commission, 3 would be Kane.
Is that what you're saying, Commissioner?
It is, if Julie can live with that, and I think she kind
I
of.
think she opened the door saying that we could use ARP funds.
You know, we need planning commission involved in this and all on board
Yeah.
with move
Yeah,
all
we-
roads in the same direction.
Yep,
And
Julie
let's-
Green, Trumbull County. We defer to the commissioner's final decision. We just needed the prioritization in order to make sure that we meet our deadlines. So we'll move forward with that. And I just want to state one more time regarding, these important projects and the amount of money. I agree that it should have been done 20 years ago. I agree with all of that, but Gary can speak to the fact that we've been playing catch up for the last 25 years. We're dealing with negligence that occurred between 1950 and 2000 before me and Gary ever stepped foot into this county. And so he has shared with you the spreadsheets showing the hundreds of millions of dollars that were spent to adhere to the consent decree. Basically, the state of Ohio has been suing Trumbull County for the last 2 decades to build these water and sewer projects. And so, and it's remarkable the amount of progress that has been made, in my opinion. And I think probably if you compare our county to the rest of the state, you would see that as well, even though you do hear some background noise from naysayers. But I just wanted to end with that, and I appreciate the commissioners discussing this, and we'll make sure that we get you copies of everything for your journal once it is submitted.
Thank you, Julie.
And I do commend that we are blessed that we have the opportunity to even do this. Because if we'd have been doing stuff like this and as many projects as been done sanitary and even the road projects and stuff that's been done over the last 5 years, we wouldn't be in this situation. Like I said, if we'd done this since the 50s.
Well,
Also, I'll be for all three of them.
Right.
I'll put my tail between my legs. And I'll side with the commissioners on this one. And I understand, the,
It's a
the
tough.
logic of it.
Yes.
But I really do believe, and I tell you what I will do. I'm gonna make a personal call back to Congressman. And I'm going to reiterate what I had mentioned to him when I was at that meeting. And he was open to it, but that doesn't mean it's gonna get voted on. So I will put a call into the congressman this week. And
And he has literally asked on many occasions, what can I do for your
Right,
county?
right.
What can I do for your county? Being a new congressman of this whole county, he wants to make a splash. Here's what you can do for us. Here's our 1, 2, and 3. Fight like hell to get us a couple of them. And if you get all 3, like I said, it's not a huge ask for $2.5 million from
I agree.
in a congressional earmark.
okay,
Most of the other people, I would imagine, started that type of price tag. We're maybe being conservative. Maybe we should ask for 30 million, Gary, for service. No, I think this is a good start. Thank you.
Gary, I believe you have the next several.
All right, Commissioners, Gary Newbrow, Sanitary Engineer. Items 21 and 22 are both notices to proceed. And those were contracts already awarded. And these are for the phase 2, excuse me, sanitary lateral assistance program, the SLAP. Yes, we've already gone through the bidding. Contracts are executed. Now it's time to issue the notice to proceed on 21 and 22. 21 is 7 houses, 22 is 5 houses. They're all in Brookfield Township. Now, on items 23, 24, and 25, this is SLAP phase 3. These are more connections to our sanitary assistance for sanitary sewer connections. And bids were opened on Bill McCoskey didn't send that over. But anyway, the bids were recently opened. Lisa, I'm sure you were there, bid opening. And so items 23, 24, and 25 are the awards for flat phase 3. And it looks like 2M Services got 3 of the houses. These are inside Yankee Lake Village. 24, TK Excavating got 6 of the houses, and that's in Yankee Lake Village. And on number 25, Express Underground, Picked up 5 of the houses and they're all in the Yankee Lake Village.
We got one minute for Gary. Is that part of all of that, 26?
Yeah, 23, 24, and 25 was a bid opening for phase 3. Yeah, that's it.
26 was. How many
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that was the engineer. Okay. Thank you, Gary. 27. We visited this last week. We omitted it. We were cautioned by the prosecutor's office. I'll read it. To authorize the Board of County Commissioners to join with the Trumbull County Prosecuting Attorney to file an application with the Court of Common Pleas for the appointment of Attorney Jared Wagner and the law firm Green and Green Lawyers as legal counsel for the Trumbull County Auditor Martha Yoder to provide legal advice or representation relative to the defense of a budget for her office and any related litigation. Commissioners, basically, that's just saying that we have to vote to be sued. So,
Mr. Prosecutor, do we have to approve that?
Commissioners, Bill Danso, Prosecutor's Office. Like I think I sort of started to explain last week, the answer on this is that, you know, of course, the vote is always up to you guys. But what I will say is that here in Trumbull County, and I think other places in the state, historically, if the board does not approve outside counsel, the attorney for this official can go to the Court of Common Pleas or the Court of Appeals, sometimes file mandamus action to force the commissioners to do this because of the conflict of interest situation and the need for legal counsel. So all I could say is it's speculative at this point, but there is a possibility that the next step would be this attorney on behalf of the auditor filing that mandamus action against the Board of Commissioners to force you guys to do it. Traditionally, those have been successful in many cases, which then just would force you guys to either approve this or the court would order the appointment without your vote on this. And it would just go through that extra step. So that's about the best prediction or the best kind of advice I can give based on precedent here in our county.
So if she sues us, then we have to hire an
I
attorney
was just gonna say.
against her, right?
Correct. That's also the way that would work because again, our office representing all of the elected officials, all the county boards, you guys, it would be a conflict situation for us. For you guys as well, you would need to get your own attorney. And, you know, that would apply to anybody who would join in such a lawsuit essentially.
Okay, so if she sues us and she loses, then she pay all the court costs and pay for our attorney and all that?
Since it's all general fund money between the two offices, it would essentially just be a general fund expense.
It wouldn't come out of her budget?
It is general, her budget is general.
So
Right.
I know, but what I'm saying is, you know, if she sues us and we have to go get an attorney, and if she wasn't successful, then she should have to pay for our attorney and all that out of her.
I will tell you, legally speaking, I don't know exactly how that would work, but my guess is that that would be something that her counsel and the commissioner's counsel would ultimately have to fight about as part of that lawsuit, is where that money actually comes from.
all it does is take additional money out of the county, which we're already down on our budget. And where's the auditor today? Commissioner Malloy, is it common that the auditor doesn't come to these meetings in the past?
For last 2 meetings, the first one she hasn't been at in a couple of years.
I mean, this is, we need to know where we're at with budget and with, you know, current, to stay current, you know, and then we're being sued.
You know, my opinion,
Personally, I want to strike it off the agenda, let her do what she wants to do. That's my opinion.
I wish there was a better, friendlier resolution to all this. I don't want to see anybody get laid off. We gave $400,000 to try to avoid that
Right.
in every department. Now, through communication lately, she's still saying now she's not laying off 14. Now she's gonna lay off 9, so that $400,000 only saved 5 employees. And now she wants to expend money, $200 an hour. and then probably $200 an hour on our part, say $400 an hour, which could lead to another employee getting cut just for this. I would rather her take that money, adjust the department the best way she can and save someone's damn job rather than put them on a cutting block. And again, like I said before, use them as human shields that if you do this, I'm cutting this person. If you do this, I'm cutting this service. I don't like that game. I would think that she would rather be working with us than against us, like every other department in the county is right now. And, you know, I will not vote to hire her an attorney and then us have to do it. If she wants to go and get the mandamus to do it that way, you know, like Jim Trafficking used to say, get your best hold. Get your best hold because we're coming back the same way. We'll go nail to nail, turn tooth to tooth, foot to foot with this. But I think it's a fight we don't want to be in. I'm begging her not to start this fight. Put that money towards your employees and the job there and just focus on the job that we have to do collectively and work for the greater good of the citizens of the county and think of them first and then your employees and not this big picture of things.
Alex?
Commissioners, Alex Stephen Johnson Bush, Human Resources Department. I have to, as your Human Resources Director and Risk Manager, make you very well aware that any layoffs that may come pursuant to what, you know, Auditor Yoder deems necessary, are also grievable by AFSCME. There are things that may cost us money long-term with AFSCME in arbitration. There's gonna be monies coming down the pipe. So just, I'm making the board aware that in my conversations with AFSCME, you better be prepared that they are going to come back. And they are gonna want explanations and they're gonna wanna fight. So that costs money.
What happens with court?
That's her choice.
What
She
happens
wants to
with
go that
courts?
route.
I'm not making this about Auditor Yoder, I'm telling the Board of Commissioners because I've general fund monies. I do not want to involve Auditor Yoder. I work for the Board of Commissioners. Technically, I work for the entire county. However, I have to make the Board of Commissioners aware that there are things coming down the pike. I met with the union on Friday.
Yeah, but is it cut and dry? I mean, isn't there cutting hours instead of laying off people?
That is what we met with the union about on Friday, yes.
And
That's what we discussed.
I mean, what are we supposed to do as a board when you only have X amount of dollars? Okay, and everybody's saying we need to streamline government. We need to cut costs wherever we can. Okay,
I get it.
I don't understand it.
And what she's kind of saying is she doesn't want to do any of that. She just wants to sue us for what, 4.2 million?
Well, so the Board of Commissioners awarded her 3.4.
Yeah, but she requested 4.2 though, right?
Well, she's saying, I believe that she revised that in her most recent email to
So how much is-
3.794.
So how much is she saying she
She's
needs?
short 300,000, 300 some
300, yeah.
thousand.
Well, now it's almost 400. She needs 3,794, I believe, is what her recent email said.
And we gave her how much?
400.
3.4.
3.4, so for 300,000, she wants to sue us.
And what she paying those employees, if she's gonna cut 9 employees, she pays them 20,000 apiece, 30,000 apiece?
I mean,
No, the math doesn't even add up with the numbers.
and I
that
think
she's
she's
saying.
added some employees in the last 2 years is what they're saying. I don't have the data yet, but I'm gonna get the data. I just haven't had time to get it, but I think she's added.
All I know is the employees down there are scared. Employees down there don't feel that they deserve to be caught in the middle of this fight. The
Right.
employees down there worked their ass off through 4 years of hell over the last 4 years with the last commissioner and the last regime, and they had to go through changes and bosses, changes and a lot of different things. And I think they don't deserve this. I think they deserve encouragement and thanks for what they do. I think they all work hard. And I hate that they're in this position. I'll fight like hell to make sure this doesn't happen. But there's only so much we can do financially. I'm not gonna give in I think we were more than fair when we raised the price up. When we look at the percentage of what she dealt with last year in the budget and what we dealt with last year and how much less we are than last year and how much less many of the departments are. You know, we get a sheriff's department we gave them almost 2 million less than what they spent last year. She's getting like 100,000 less than what she spent last year.
Well, we gave her 400,000 the other day, and she said, I still have to lay off 8 or 9. It wasn't, thanks for trying or helping us. It was like, well. now I
Let
have
me
to-
readjust and come back to the
Yeah,
table
I'm
and see
still
what we
gonna
can
sue you.
do.
Still gonna sue you.
So what do you want
I
to do,
just don't understand.
commissioners? I don't know.
I think I agree again with Commissioner Malloy. You know what? Let her go across the street. and Order us to sue.
That's what I feel. I scratch
agree.
it off the
You know what?
agenda.
I just asked her to reconsider and think of all the money that she could save by not doing it.
Well, and like I said, there are human lives involved in this and services that we need provided. There are realtors waiting, there are developers waiting, there are tax people waiting. I mean, their financial future depends on a lot of this. And to say things are gonna be slowed up, things are gonna be restricted. Hey, we can all cut fat in government. We're doing it ourselves here.
The other thing is she's cutting services and she hasn't laid off anybody. I mean, there's services that she's not providing now. And she hasn't laid off anybody. So why are you cutting the services?
Okay, so we all in
I
agreement.
mean, and the same thing, we had the last meeting here that was contentious and we had nobody running. I'm getting in bad territory here. We had nobody running the audio visual here. But we had our number 2 guy sitting in the crowd. I don't know if he was being paid that day, but he sat there for an hour or 2
I'm
hours
sure he was.
and watched what went on when he could have been sitting at that table right there doing the IT work. Love the guy, great employee. I just don't want people to be caught up in this, whatever it is right now. We should all be working in the same direction. Like I said, this county just went through 4 years of hell, and we're all victims of the last 4 years of hell that we endured with the previous commissioner. We should all be smiling every single day we come to work now and working together for the benefit of the citizens. If this should be happy times. People should be happy to be in this building, and we literally,
Hey, I want to let you know, now I'm going through hell.
we're
All
resurrected.
right? Now I'm going through hell.
Right.
Took her off the county's back, put her on my back.
But I'm
Anyway,
saying, all
I don't wanna
departments,
get into that.
I wish those people, I wish we were all rowing in the same direction and on the same team right now.
Let's move on, commissioners. We're gonna axe it off. Okay.
She wants to sue us, go to court.
Right, I agree. Yep. I believe she should be here. I really do. So, 28, to notify the Ohio Department of Liquor Control, public hearing is not requested on the liquor permit application listed. And, that is KMTSTB Properties, known as Jack's Fine Food, to Mecca Fuel transfer. This is transfer to Mecca Fuel LLC.
And I gotta tell you, with this here, I gotta wish them luck because that's the old Jackson Mecca. That was the grocery store that at one time was booming. And they had hot foods. People would stop in for lunch and people head in the lake and pick up their bucket of chicken and go sit on the causeway and look at the ducks at Jack's Fine Food. And now that's sold. Last time I was in there, it was like a ghost town. The shelves were empty. They have no more hot food section. And they have new ownership there. And again, people like this, those are the anchors of that community. And I wish them success, whoever just bought the place, this Mecca Fuel or whatever it is, that they're able to get the support they need from us and from government, from the community, so that place can reach its potential like it used to in the past. I hate walking in the stores like that, seeing them just the fruit die on the vine out there, and that's what's happened with Edna's on 45, the old Quinn's on 88, and now this, and now you got the other Quinn's down the road in Johnson. I mean, these community stores, people rely on that. They rely on that in a big way, and we owe it to them. And a lot of it's septic. A lot of it is septic problems that drove them out of business. It's not being able to afford the septic system and meet the county health standards. And we need to fix that somehow as a board.
Okay. 29, to remove, appoint, and add additional individuals as members of the Trumbull County Local Corrections Planning Board for a 3-year term, which commences March 19, 2025 and ends March 19, 2028. So we remove the following members: Paul Monroe, former sheriff; Judge Andrew Logan, retired; and Mauro Canela Mesa, former commissioner. We replace them with Michael Wilson, Sheriff, Sarah Thomas Cavor, Judge, Tony Bernard, Commissioner, and additional members, Rick Hernandez, President, Denny Malloy, Commissioner. Any questions on that? That's the end of our agenda items. Do we have any, Mark, do you have anything today or anybody here for?
I'd like to congratulate the sheriff on their 2 new additions yesterday. They got 2 new canines.
Oh,
Yeah, not one, but two, you know, so they were getting one and they got two. That's huge.
Yeah.
We got 3. We're gonna try to have one on every turn.
did you want to elaborate on that, Mark? Give your name and.
Mark Manning with the Sheriff's Department. I mean, I'm not ready fully on that, but, the sheriff and the chief went out, with the major yesterday. We had one dog that previously coming in, and then another county had a dog that was not a bite dog, and they ordered 2 more dogs, and they asked if someone wanted it, the trainer then, offered it to the sheriff, who took it, and subsequently, they came back and said, well, maybe we don't want to give that dog away. So they kind of took it back. So the trainer said, well, I'm not going to stick you guys since you already got 2 deputies ready to go. I got another dog for you. Well, I believe in the meantime, then he came back and said, you can have the dog. So it's kind of that situation. Like I said, I'm not up to date fully on what's going on, but from being in the meeting today and it looks like we're gonna be, so.
And that was at no cost to the county either. I think
Yeah.
it's trained
The
and.
great thing is it's at no cost to the county. I mean, from my understanding, when you, from buying these dogs to training them to getting everything ready, it's about a $50,000 per animal process. Yeah. And so we got 3 of them, and also a lot of the equipment needed is being donated. And this trainer is really taking care of us. He's doing the training and everything. The dog that is not a bite dog, which is just a search dog and a drug dog, he's gonna work on it to turn it into a full service dog, or a couple other options we're thinking about that dog is to run that, since it's not a bite dog, to run it through the schools. It'd be a great dog to run through the schools for the SOs and run through our jail. So this would be kind of a rotation that he's also a search dog from my understanding, so.
How long is the training for this dog?
I believe there's several months. I mean, I'm not sure. I believe there's several months, depending, because you have drug, you have search, and then you got bite. So if they're multi-purpose training, all that, or dual purpose, that time takes. And then you got time involved that they got to train the deputies to work,
And you already signed them to 2 deputies?
already got 2 deputies. So it looks great. I think dogs are good and, definitely be helpful.
Good. Thank you, Mark.
Yes.
Commissioners, prosecutor's office, nothing.
Nothing on our end.
Mail going good.
It's,
Mail's being mailed.
as far as I know.
All right. Great. Well,
Just for the record too, to give credit where it's due. We did, when we came and readjusted our budgets last week. There were a lot of, like, as I mentioned before, a lot of thank yous from department heads, the clerk of courts, but held our mail up. Has reopened that if we wanted. I think we found a nice welcome home in the prosecutor's office for our mailroom, but
so things are.
they were okay there in the clerk of court's office now, and they were okay with the budget that we gave them. They're gonna make that budget fit, and they understand the need of being a team player, and so I feel we'll have no more issues in regards to that. And that
What
was
about the
something,
passport office?
that is something they need to look at. She is tentatively retiring in June. That's not a service that many counties provide. That is a service that operates at a loss. They only bring in about 1 passport, $35 a day. So they are operating in a loss there by having someone there. So that may be something that will be absorbed into someone else's job duties or eliminate all the other. That's up to him and his department, but he is making the conciliations there without laying anybody off. That he needs to make in that department.
So that person was gonna retire in June.
Correct.
It made it seem like That's a plus. Cut that out.
Well, I mean, he was looking at not replacing it with somebody else at that point.
He didn't really say that.
I didn't engage in those conversations. The
I
only thing I
didn't
was
either.
part of was the.
I'm just reading this letter.
So I did have a talk though with Mr. Blue, Mr.
Did you have a talk with Mr. Blue?
Randy Law, and yeah, I was over there and Devin Stanley, and it was very cordial after the meeting we had last week.
We gave money.
So I understand. Hey, I like when department heads fight for the departments. I have no problem with that. If they want to fight and stand up for what they believe in and give us educated, good opinions, I'm all ears when it comes to that. I think we all are. You know, we're stronger together than we are separated and fighting with each other. So I'm happy for that in the other departments.
Okay. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Mr. Bernard.
Yes.
Mr. Hernandez.
Yes. Thank you, everyone.